Namaskar. Good evening, viewers. It's 9 p.m. and you're watching the news on Sansad TV. I'm Rajiv Kumar Singh. We get you the details of the day's top stories from India and across the world over the next half an hour. Let's begin with the headlines. 5-judge Constitution bench to hear dispute over real Shiv Sena on Thursday will decide on questions raised related to defection, merger and disqualification. Union Minister Prahlad Joshi underscores need for self-reliance in metal and mining industry, emphasizes government initiatives taken in consultation with industry to boost ease of doing business. Water levels recede in major rivers in Odisha. Torrential rains worsen situation in Rajasthan. Chief Minister takes stock of flood-affected areas in Madhya Pradesh. Stock market recovers after 2 days of decline. Sensex up 257 points. Nifty crosses 17,550 points. Ukraine issues alert on eve of its Independence Day, warns of intensified attacks by Russia. Nearly 9,000 Ukrainian soldiers killed so far in 6 months of conflict. A quick look now at some more important news. DRDO and Indian Navy successfully flight test indigenously developed vertical launch short-range surface-to-air missile. Union Minister Nitin Gadkari underscores need to imbibe techniques to save environment and create better infrastructure without compromising quality. Civil aviation sector witnessing paradigm shift in terms of rising numbers of airports and aircraft, asserts Union Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia. Prime Minister Modi to address the grand finale of Smart India Hackathon 2022 on Thursday. Smart India Hackathon started in 2017 to promote the spirit of innovation. China to issue visas to Indian students returning to its universities after COVID restrictions. South Africa Army Chief meets Indian Army Chief General Manoj Pandey, 4-day visit to strengthen military ties between two nations. On 3-day visit to Tashkent, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh to attend annual meeting of Defence Ministers of Shanghai Cooperation Organization states. BJP suspends party's Telangana MLA T. Raja Singh for remarks on Prophet Muhammad. Former US President Donald Trump asks a judge to freeze investigation into files seized from his residence. And Elon Musk launches legal action to summon Twitter co-founder Jack Dorsey to court. News now in detail. The Supreme Court has referred the petitions filed by the Shiv Sena and Maharashtra Chief Minister Eknath Shinde to a 5-judge bench. A bench headed by Chief Justice N.V. Ramanna ordered the listing of petitions before the Constitution bench on Thursday. He said that they have raised important constitutional issues pertaining to disqualification, power of the Speaker and Governor, and judicial review, which need to be considered by a 5-judge Constitution bench. It also directed the Election Commission not to pass any orders on Shinde faction's plea to be granted the party's poll symbol. The bench was hearing pending cases related to the recent political crisis in Maharashtra that led to the fall of the Maha Vikas Aghadi government in the state. The Supreme Court has struck down one of the provisions of the Benami Transactions Prohibition Act of 1988. The provision provided for the maximum jail term of 3 years or a fine or both for those indulging in Benami transactions. The Apex Court termed the provision unconstitutional on the ground of being manifestly arbitrary. The verdict came on the appeal of the centre challenging the Calcutta High Court judgment in which it was held that the amendment made in 1988 Act in 2016 would be applicable with prospective effect. The 1988 Act was made to prohibit benami transactions and the right to recover property that is held to be benami. In a swipe against China, India cautioned against double standards on the issue of combating terrorism. Addressing a United Nations Security Council meeting, India's permanent representative to the UN, Ruchira said that countries should respect each other's sovereignty and territorial integrity. She said that common security is only feasible when all countries stand together against common threats such as terrorism. The UNSC meeting was convened at the behest of China. Cambodia also took a veiled swipe at Beijing over its aggressive behavior in the region.
Common security is only possible when countries respect each other's sovereignty and territorial integrity, as they would expect their own sovereignty to be respected. Common security is also only feasible when all countries stand together against common threats such as terrorism and do not engage in double standards while preaching otherwise.
3 Indian Air Force officials were terminated today in connection with the accidental firing of a BrahMos missile that landed in Pakistan. The Court of Inquiry into the incident found that deviation from the SOP by 3 officers led to the accidental firing of the missile on the 9th of March. The officials include a group captain, a wing commander and a squadron leader. The Defense Ministry described the incident as deeply regrettable. The IAF said the officers were served the termination orders on Tuesday. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla met with the Indian diaspora in Toronto ahead of leaving for Halifax to participate in the 65th Commonwealth Parliamentary Conference. Birla is leading the Indian parliamentary delegation at the conference. In his interaction with the Indian community in Toronto, Birla shared the successful journey of India in the fields of economy, science and technology. He expressed happiness that the Indian community is contributing significantly to the development of Canada while staying rooted to the motherland. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman attended the Bankers' Conclave in Nagaland today. She handed out loans worth rupees 205 crore to over 3,000 beneficiaries in Nagaland today. Addressing the Bankers' Conclave, Sitharaman expressed hope that every government scheme would reach the actual beneficiaries. On the second day of her visit to Nagaland, she launched the Chief Minister's microfinance scheme in the state. She inaugurated a branch of Axis Bank in Mon district and 3 other Axis Bank branches at Dimau and Gohpur in Assam and Madatring in Meghalaya virtually. She also flagged off a mobile ATM van in state capital Kohima to serve the rural people of Mokokchung district. BJP President J.P. Nadda said that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has always believed in empowering people and not distributing freebies. Speaking at an event on the book Modi at 20, Dreams Meet Delivery, Nadda asserted that the Prime Minister has effected a paradigm shift in politics with his governance style.
कितनी गहरी सोच रही है उनकी और पॉलिसी इंटरवेंशन में उनका कितना बड़ा योगदान है। ये जो नेशनल हेल्थ मिशन आया, इसके पहले गुजरात में आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने इस कॉन्सेप्ट को रखा कि जिस दिन से महिला गर्भवती होती है वहां से लेकर डिलीवरी तक की चिंता ये सरकार को करना है और इसकी व्यवस्था होगी।
In the last 8 years, the government has taken many steps to make the country self-reliant in the field of metal and mining industry. Union Mines Minister Prahlad Joshi stated this while inaugurating the International Conference on 2047 India Mineral and Metal Industry 2030 Transformation Direction and Vision in Delhi. He said several initiatives have been taken in consultation with the industries to make it easier to do business in this sector.
commercial coal blocks have been auctioned and some of them have started the production, and this year we will end up with at least between 5 to 10 million ton production. We will get it from the commercial coal mining, which is a very good achievement, and by 2030, I think with at least 70-80 million tons of commercial coal, through commercial coal mining, we will get the coal, and that is a very big achievement.
Now let's trace the monsoon situation in the nation. In Odisha, water levels receded below danger mark, but nearly 6.4 lakh people in 902 villages still remain displaced. Most rivers in the state, including the Subarnarekha and the Mahanadi in the east, are flowing below the danger mark, while there is no breach in the embankment of Subarnarekha. Embankments of Mahanadi and its tributaries have been broken at 7 places. Also, the Jalaka river, which caused floods in Balasore, is flowing above the danger mark. The Indian Air Force is deploying 2 helicopters for relief operations in the flood-hit Vidisha district of Madhya Pradesh. Several parts of Madhya Pradesh, including Bhopal, have seen heavy rains in the last few days that have disrupted the power supply in the state capital and other places. The water level has increased to twice the capacity of the Gandhi Sagar Dam, forcing authorities to open the gates of the dam. Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister Shiva Singh Chauhan conducted an aerial survey of flood-affected areas in Vidisha. He said that 25 villages in Vidisha and Guna districts have been affected. Heavy rains over the last 2 days continue to disrupt normal life in Rajasthan. The situation has worsened in the Kota division, where people are being shifted to safer places after waterlogging in many places. Schools have been closed in Kota, Baran, Jhalawar and Bundi. Water levels have risen in many rivers flowing through these districts. An Indian Air Force helicopter is assisting in rescue operations in Baran district. The Meteorological Department has issued a warning of heavy rain in many districts of the state. A flood-like situation has been reported in Kota and Jhalawar district and some areas in Bundi and Baran. Now, let us take a look at some stories that are making news across the nation. The government has sought details from ministries about the progress on steps suggested by Prime Minister Modi for making governance more efficient and transparent. These steps relate to the use of GEM portal, holding tiffin meetings with officials and using social media to publicize the centre's initiatives. MPs and former members of parliament paid homage to former Speaker of Lok Sabha Dr. Balram Jakhar on his birth anniversary in the Central Hall of Parliament House. Congress President Sonia Gandhi called on President Draupadi Murmu at Rashtrapati Bhavan on Tuesday. Rashtrapati Bhavan has tweeted pictures of the meeting. The Supreme Court has agreed to consider listing of the petition challenging the release of the 11 convicts in the Bilkis Bano gang rape case by Gujarat government. The army foiled an infiltration bid by a group of terrorists along the line of control. 2 terrorists were shot dead in the encounter in Jammu and Kashmir's Rajouri district. The BSF recovered a cache of arms during patrolling along the border in Punjab. Weapons are suspected to have been smuggled across the border. Maharashtra government has decided to increase flood assistance to people. Chief Minister Eknath Shinde said the immediate relief amount given to the flood-affected people will be raised to 15,000 rupees from the previous amount of 5,000 rupees. And now news from the world of business and economy. Gautam Adani's group on Tuesday said it will buy a majority stake in New Delhi Television Limited as it looks to boost media investments as part of an ambitious expansion plan. An Adani Group firm first acquired a company that had loaned money to NDTV, and the Adani Group firm exercised the option to convert that debt into a 29.18% stake in the news channel company. Subsequently, it has now launched an open offer for another 26% stake, the group said in a statement. Union Minister for Road Transport and Highways Nitin Gadkari on Tuesday said the government will approach the capital market next month to raise funds for 4 road projects. The money will be raised through infrastructure investment trusts, and there will be an investment limit of rupees 10 lakh for retail investors. Gadkari said projects under the build, operate, transfer model will also be launched shortly. Your new iPhone 14 may just be made in India. Agency reports stated that Apple Inc. is planning to start manufacturing iPhone 14 in India about 2 months after the product's initial release in China. Apple has been working with suppliers to speed up manufacturing process in India. The new product could be ready for launch as soon as November. Recovering from Monday's loss, the BSE Sensex today climbed 257 points to close at 59,031, while the NSE Nifty added 86 points to close at 17,577. Mahindra & Mahindra, Bajaj Finserv and Tata Steel were the top performers. Infosys, TCS and Tech Mahindra lagged behind. Asian markets were trending low, with Nikkei 225 among worst performers with losses of 1.19%. Kospi, Taiwan and Shanghai Composite also lost 1.1%. European and American markets fared better with a gain of 1%. We will take a short break here. On the other side, United Nations Chief Antonio Guterres calls on countries around the world to make due contributions to common security.
क्या आप किसी कानूनी समस्या से घिरे हैं? नहीं पता क्या करें? क्या कहता है कानून? क्या हैं आपके अधिकार? समझिए कानून की बारीकियों को कानून की पाठशाला में, सिर्फ संसद टीवी पर।
Welcome back to the news. Time now for all the big developments from the Russia-Ukraine war front. Ukrainian president vowed to raise Ukraine's national flag in currently Russian-occupied parts of the country on Ukraine's Independence Day on 24th of August. Zelensky made the comments at a flag-raising ceremony to mark the National Flag Day in Kiev on Tuesday. The Ukrainian government has banned public celebrations in the capital, Kiev, due to fear of attacks. Ukraine will mark 31 years of independence from Soviet rule on Wednesday. The United States urged its citizens to leave Ukraine, fearing a surge in Russian attacks ahead of the nation's Independence Day on 24th of August. The U.S. Embassy in Kiev said that it believed Russia was preparing to target civilian and government infrastructure in the next few days as the war reaches the 6-month mark. Russia carried out artillery and air strikes in several towns in Zaporizhzhia region on Tuesday, raising fears of a nuclear catastrophe. People living near Europe's largest nuclear power plant in southern Ukraine say they were worried about the potentially disastrous consequences if the plant got hit by shells. Russia and Ukraine repeatedly accuse each other of firing at the Zaporizhzhia facility, which currently lies in Russian-controlled region. The Russian Defense Ministry said the Russian forces hit multiple Ukrainian command posts, personnel and weapons in the past 24 hours. Russia claimed that multiple ammunition depots in Kherson region and Donetsk have been destroyed. Ukraine's drones have also been hit in Donetsk, Kherson and Kharkov. Ukrainian army said they thwarted Russian attacks in Bakhmut and other places. Hundreds gathered in Moscow for the funeral of Daria Dugina, the daughter of a prominent Russian ultra-nationalist who was killed in a car bombing on Saturday. Mourners carried flowers and lit candles to pay tribute to Dugina at a hall in Moscow's Ostenkino TV Center. Alexander Dugin, a close confidant of Russian president, may have been the intended target of the attack that killed his 29-year-old daughter. A new season of Ukrainian National Soccer League kicks off in Kiev today amid the raging war with Russia. The match in Kiev kicks off a day before Ukraine marks its Independence Day and 6 months of Russia's invasion. Games will be played behind closed doors amid heavy security, mostly in stadiums in Kiev and the West, far from the front lines. The players will be rushed to bomb shelters if air raid sirens sound. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky welcomed Polish President Andrzej Duda to Kiev on Tuesday for talks on increasing support for the war-battled country. Duda's visit comes on Ukraine's National Flag Day. Poland has taken the most Ukrainian refugees fleeing bombardment, with 180,000 settled in its capital, Warsaw. 9,000 Ukrainian soldiers have been killed in the war with Russia since it began nearly 6 months ago. The figures were released on Monday by Ukraine's Commander-in-Chief, General Valery Zaluzhny. The United Nations stated that 5,587 civilians have been killed and 7,890 wounded during the conflict. The UN Children's Agency said on Monday at least 972 Ukrainian children have been killed or injured. However, the actual figures are expected to be much higher. Time now for some other global updates. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres called on countries around the world to reach consensus and make due contributions to common security. A UN Security Council briefing was held on Monday on promoting common security through dialogue and cooperation. The briefing was hosted by China.
Addressing the UN Security Council briefing, UN Chief Guterres stressed the need to reforge a global consensus around the cooperation required to ensure collective security. He said the tools that have kept humanity from catastrophic world wars are more important than ever. But they must be fit for today's rapidly deteriorating international peace and security environment. China's permanent representative to the UN, Zhang Jun, said at the press briefing that the global security initiative proposed by Chinese President Xi Jinping is the answer given by China to promote the realization of common security. He said the initiative is open and China is willing to work with the international community to implement it with practical actions through sincere and pragmatic dialogue and cooperation. Zhang emphasized that respecting the sovereignty and territorial integrity of each country is the golden rule in international relations and that double standard cannot be tolerated. Permanent representative of Russian Federation to United Nations, Vasily Nebenzia, said at the briefing that since the Cold War, Western countries' attempts to maintain their hegemony have led to the global turmoil today. Bureau Report, Sansad TV.
News now from some other parts of the world in this quick world wrap. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz met his Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, during a 3-day visit with a delegation of a German company, Executive Shoals, is in Canada this week and will sign a deal with Trudeau to supply clean hydrogen to Germany. Germany is aiming to reach zero carbon emissions by 2045, while Canada wants to decarbonize fully by 2050. The two leaders also pledged to fight for democratic principles around the world. 5 Arab leaders discussed regional issues in a quintuple summit in Egypt. The summit was headed by Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. It was attended by Jordanian King Abdullah, UAE President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, Bahrain's King Hamad bin Al Khalifa, and Iraqi Prime Minister Mustafa Al Kadhimi. The 5 leaders discussed enhancing relations and boosting cooperation in various fields affecting the region. Thousands of protesters in Haiti blocked roads, shut down businesses, demanding that Prime Minister Ariel Henry step down. They also called for a better quality of life. In recent months, violence, kidnappings and gang wars have surged, and poverty has deepened, with inflation reaching 29% in Haiti. Police clashes with demonstrators in some areas, firing tear gas to break up the crowd as burning tires blocked roads. The world's biggest space telescope, James Webb Space Telescope, has taken photos of Jupiter. Scientists released the shots of the biggest planet of the solar system. It shows unprecedented views of Jupiter's northern and southern lights and swirling polar haze. Jupiter's great red spot stands out brightly alongside countless smaller storms. The infrared images were artificially colored in blue, white, green, yellow and orange to make the features stand out. China successfully launched a new satellite into space from a satellite launch center in southwest China's Sichuan province. The Chuangxing 16 satellite, developed by the Chinese Academy of Sciences, was launched by a carrier rocket and entered the planned orbit successfully. It will be mainly used for scientific experiments and verifications of new technologies. The launch was the 16th mission series rockets. Time now for all the sporting action. The elections to the AIFF Executive Committee will be held on September 2nd, and aspiring candidates can file fresh nominations from August 25th, the returning officer has announced. Rahul Dravid has tested positive for COVID-19 and hasn't travelled with the team that left for Dubai to compete in the Asia Cup starting August 27th. India plays arch rivals Pakistan in their opening game on August 28th. Saina Nehwal progressed in the World Championship with a straight game 21-19, 21-9 win over Hong Kong's Ching Yi. Saina has moved to the pre-quarterfinals as her second-round opponent Nozomi Okuhara has pulled out due to an injury. 6-time world champion boxer MC Mary Kom has undergone a reconstructive surgery to repair an anterior cruciate ligament tear in her left knee. The surgery was performed in Mumbai. Sania Mirza pulls out of the US Open due to injury, says it will change her retirement plan. Sania hurt her elbow while playing in Canada 2 weeks ago. That's all in today's The News. For more informative programs, stay tuned to Sansad TV. Good night.